the host of Aaron's Hour, Aaron Phillips.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips, coast to coast, coming to you all over the screens, all over the world, wherever you are. Thank you for making me part of your day, joining me to kick off today's show. Look at that face. Only a face a mother could love. Maybe a couple of dogs, too. I don't know. Whatever he's cats, not dogs. Cats. Cat. John Stiles is a cat man, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? How are you, my friend?
I have 2 cats and 1 dog, if you don't mind.
Oh, I forgot about that. How did the dog sneak in there, you cat man, you?
She was a rescue from one of the rescues that we had here in the studio a year ago in November.
Oh, okay. Very good.
I felt sorry for her and took her home, and now she's 780 pounds and about 6.5 feet tall.
on her hind legs?
And she is a sweetheart. She is just a big old sweetheart. And she loves the cats.
That's good.
They tolerate her. So
yes, like most wives do with husbands, they tolerate us all.
Exactly. So.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Of course, if you're watching us on Facebook, you have a couple of choices. You have, of course, Aaron's Hour Show. You have WWDBTV Las Vegas. If you like YouTube, hey, we're an equal opportunity streamer. That's okay. YouTube, same thing, Aaron's Hour Show or WWDBTV. Don't add the Las Vegas there. And in a couple of days, if you like Roku, and who doesn't, I like a little side of Roku with my pasta. You can check out the WWDBTV channel there. Check out the plethora of options you have with which to enjoy fine entertainment. And, of course, you see in the upper corner of our screen, again, WWDBTV. Yeah, you have to point to it. I can only do this. I can only go all the way. There you go, right there. You got it. WWDBTV, that is an affiliate network of John, and WWDBTV, that is what I am manning here in Virginia Beach. First new show will be debuting April 7th called Changing Lanes. Check it out on Facebook. Very excited about that. What's that?
We have a new show?
I think so. April 7th.
Wow.
11 a.m. Eastern time, I believe. That'll be 8 a.m. Pacific time. So you better get it.
9.
I'm trying to keep the 11 a.m. time consistent for you, John. If you notice, if you notice a pattern there. Anyway, listen. Before John and I get going, here are some news stories. John's going to hang out with me as I go over some of them. We have a show, kind of like a follow-up show, but really not a follow-up show. So if it's not a follow-up show, but it is what is it? It's a show. That's right. I have about a couple of months ago already. I had some ladies, Sandra and Lauren. They came on. They talked about their foundation locally called the Foundation Fighting Blindness. It's a national organization, but the local chapter here, Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach. We talked about what's going on. Sandra shared her experience and her family involvement because of family having sight issues. So today's guest, we actually have a doctor. And for those of you who watch Kiwanis Connects, we mean no confusion with this. It is not the same person. But joining me is Dr. Val Foytik, not Boychik, ladies and gentlemen, Foytik. She is going to join us as well. And then we have Deborah Laughlin, who is also part of the organization. And we'll go over their stories. They'll join us officially after the break. But we're also going to talk about the foundation. But more importantly, John, if you can bring up the flyer for it, Saturday, April 5th, Mount Trashmore here in Virginia Beach is going to be the 20th anniversary Vision Walk. And now, of course, these walks are held all over the country under the umbrella of Foundation Fighting Blindness. April 5th, 10 a.m. at Mount Trashmore Park, which, thank God, is only about 2 miles from my house. I get to do something close for a change. You can scan that QR code there that you can either join and create a team or just make a donation. I think I looked at the screen earlier, John. Check this out. The event hasn't even gotten here, and they've already raised over $30,000.
Nice.
That's not a bad start, right? You can call for more information, 443 area code 539-8547, or you can email Lauren Meltzer at lmeltzer, M-E-L-T-Z-E-R, at fightingblindness.org. But check it out. They still need sponsors. They can still use the donations. Yours truly is going to be there to MC this event. And it's my absolute pleasure to be able to participate. And actually, I've signed up as a sponsor under that supporter category there. So not only am I going to be there to MC this event on the 5th, but more importantly, I've been able to make a donation and help support. And I get my name on I love seeing my name on T-shirts, John. I get my name on the T-shirts that they're providing. And I I asked Lauren to make sure they put a double X aside for this big body. So you can check that out, do all of that, and we'll have a good time on the 5th. All right. We'll talk more with that with the ladies, but more importantly, well, I shouldn't say more importantly, but it is time for some fun, and that means it's time for Vegas Unwrapped 2.0.
With a nod to the past and an eye to the future, here is Aaron Phillips with Vegas Unwrapped 2.0.
All right. John, what's exciting back in Vegas nowadays? What's going on back there? Anything?
Oh, man. Do you know that it's almost 90 degrees today?
Already?
Yeah, it's awesome. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day out there today,
Oh,
man.
my gosh.
Yep.
You know what? Let me see.
Look, I finally got my short sleeves out, man.
I see that.
No jacket or nothing, man. Just so
well, you know what? I just pulled up the weather for me here.
80, I'm okay. Yeah.
Exactly. I just pulled up the weather here. You know, later on today, it's going to get up to almost 80 degrees here. But we have that.
Huh?
But we have that moisture thing happening called rain. But you know what? And then later on in the week, it's going to drop back down to 57. Our temperatures have been like an elevator, up and down the last 10 days. 50s one day, 80 the next, 45 the next, tons of rain. I mean, it's crazy. No wonder why. All right. I got some 3 news topics there for you, John, for you guys back there in Vegas. This is an event people love there in Las Vegas. April 5 and 6, while I'm out at Mount Trashmore helping raise money, Aviation Nation makes its return to Nellis Air Force Base. That's right. It's one of the best shows around. That's where you get to see the Thunderbirds, right? The Thunderbirds actually come out.
You just and you know, I live like maybe 4 or 5 miles from Nellis now.
Right.
So I mean, I can see them flying from my backyard.
Do your glasses shake? Does your house shake?
No, not really. I'm really surprised. You know?
Really? Well, that's good. Well, here's the best part, folks. If you want to go, it's free. That doesn't even cost anything to go see it. But here's the thing, folks. You got to keep this in mind. You ready for this? Attendees will have to park at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Buses will start running at 10 a.m. and the opening ceremony is scheduled for 11 a.m. Demonstrations will start at 11:15. And again, these times are all Pacific time. Gates will close at 6 p.m. at night. The last bus leaves for the Speedway at 6 p.m. Air Force officials want to remind everybody to please give yourself plenty of time to park, get through security. And if you want more information, simply visit www.nellis.afs.mil/aviation-nation. So that's April 5th and 6th. Trust me, if you forgot the event is going on, you'll hear noise on the 5th. So remember to go on the 6th.
And Aaron, I don't know if you've ever been down there, but or around the base when that's going on, but all up and down the roads, cars are parked.
Oh, I bet.
You know, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's really something to see.
By the way, before I forget, today's show, and I really shouldn't forget this, is made possible by my sponsors. We have revealed-llc.com. Rip the Band-Aid off to better health. If you want to just kind of free your mind, you can get hats, shirts, sweatshirts, everything. It's a great logo. I have stuff. Just remind yourself that it's okay to let yourself heal. The Voice Hall of Fame merchandise shop, thevoice.qbstores.com, just like a Hall of Famer. If you want some merchandise that has any of the logos that I have, that I've been part of, you can do that as well. Tidewater Community College, from here, go anywhere. Rustic Reclaimed Design, if you can think about it to be etched into stone, into slate, into wood, whatever design you have, they can do it for you. And if you want to start,
do they do glass? Can they do glass?
Yes.
Cool.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, they can. And lastly, if you want to save money on your energy, you can save energy. You can save money on your energy by reaching out. Think Energy. You can find them on Facebook. You can find Preston Kirsten. You'll see the commercial come up. Reach out to him. Okay, here we go. Some music coming to Vegas. We love music. Lady Gaga announces 2 shows coming on the Strip, but not a residency. So Lady Gaga's Mayhem Ball has created something of a crystal ball for her plans in Las Vegas. Her upcoming tour, which actually will start there in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena with 2 shows, July 16th and July 18th. Live Nation has announced the tour this past week. The series supports Gaga's latest release, Mayhem. General on sale will begin noon, April 3rd, Pacific time at AXS.com. The T-Mobile dates open the tour, which will end in November in Paris. Now, that's Paris as in overseas, not Paris down there on the strip a couple of miles. That's different Paris there, folks. But so check that out. If you like Lady Gaga, she will be there. Now, it's so funny. This story reminds me of pro wrestlers. Pro wrestlers like Ric Flair and everybody says, I'm retiring for this week. And then they come back a week later and they keep coming back. They retire and they come back. Well, yes.
Kind of like Tom Brady, huh?
Kind of like, well, yeah, kind of. And Brett Favre and all these other people. But Kiss, they actually retired in 2023. Okay, almost 2 years. It'd be a year and a half. But you ready for this? They're coming to Vegas November 14th, 15th, and 16th for their 50th anniversary fan event. That's right. I said it. Updates can be found on a site called Vibe, VIBEE.com, because they also have travel packages. So, quote, anything's possible, Paul Stanley added in a separate interview. Kiss is so far from over, though Kiss as we know it is done. The Unmasked Live show will feature Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Eric Singer, Tommy Thayer, and special guest Bruce Kulick. It promises a Q&A, exclusive merchandise, and a performance from Kulick. Kiss Army members can purchase VIP pre-sale tickets beginning, well, they've already begun March 27th, with general sales opening on April 7th. They have, like I said, a bunch of packages by going to Vibe. So Kiss, coming out of retirement a year and a half later. I guess you really never retire, as the old saying goes, right? All right.
Yeah, look at us.
Yes. Well, the nice thing about what you and I do, John, we don't have to wear makeup or wear 12-inch platform shoes and travel the country. We just have a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection. Okay, that's not really. I mean,
I can go back to wearing my tennis shoes.
I won't. Who can see your feet? For all anybody knows, I don't have anything on below my shirt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Wilson. My Wilson. Okay, here's some news. Virginia, we know Virginia in this area. It's not Las Vegas. There's only one Las Vegas in terms of casinos. But here's what's really cool. There are actually, there's like 5 or 6 casinos in this area. And probably in about 150 years, we'll catch up to Las Vegas at this rate. So you have the Live Casino and Hotel Virginia Resort. That will open in 2027. That's going to be along Wagner Road near Interstate 95 in Petersburg.
So is this on Indian land or?
It doesn't say anything about Indian land, so I don't know if it's tribe related. I don't know enough about Petersburg to say if it is Indian. Maybe our guest will know. If they're good with geography, one's a doctor, the other one is smart too, so maybe they'll teach us about geography. I don't know. Deborah and Dr. Val, hope you can answer John's question. I have no clue. I just moved here. What do I know? I know the desert. That's about it. So you got that one in 2027. Then the same company, which that resort, the Live, was opened up between Maryland-based Cordish Company and a Virginia-based Bruce Smith Enterprise. Now, those two companies have already opened up a Hard Rock. They opened up a casino last November in Bristol, Virginia. Then they're opening up a Hard Rock Casino, Caesars, Virginia in Danville, opened up its doors only a handful of months ago in December. Then Headwaters Casino Hotel Resort. That's been big news right here in Virginia Beach and Norfolk because they are actually building it right on the same land as the Tidewater Tides, the AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. A casino next to a ballpark. Out of the middle of the town, not in the middle of the town. The downside is, though, that the casino is taking up quite a bit of space for parked vehicles. So now what they're doing, they have a rail line that runs kind of downtown into that area that they're having people make sure they do that. Otherwise, they're in for a long haul. And last but not least, I've seen this. Rivers Casino in Portsmouth opened up in 2023 off of Interstate 264 and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. What I find interesting about that, I call that little UNLV, John, because that is right next to Tidewater Community College's Portsmouth campus. You drive down the same road, the casino's to the left, the college is to the right. It's great. All right. Last but not least, before we go to break, John, this kind of falls right in line about the dogs and the cats I mentioned to you earlier. The Norfolk Animal Care Center is hosting a slam dunk adoption special to close out the rest of the month of March. So for March 20th, so it's already started through April 2nd, all puppy and dog adoption fees will only be $35, and adoption fees will be waived for senior pups. The care center is located at 5585 Sabre Road and is open from 1:30 to 6 p.m. for adoptions every day except Wednesday. So go figure. But if you want a little sneak peek, now, if you can't adopt for whatever the reason, you can certainly contact them about helping out, volunteer, or fostering. But you can go to www.norfolk.gov / the numbers 3878 / dogs. But then there's cats and other animals and stuff that come up. So if you're looking for that special pet, you got it. All right. With that, let's
wait. Since we're talking about pets,
yes,
right? All right. I just want you to know I have an upcoming interview with a gentleman that I met earlier today.
Woo.
And he has a company called A1 Pet Waste Management.
Are they pooper scoopers?
Yes.
I used to use one in Vegas.
Now wait. Their tagline is think of us when you see poo.
But see, that could be taken as Winnie, though, too. Winnie.
He had on that shirt, and I stopped him, and I just said, "Hey, I got to have you on my show." Anyway, so watch for that coming up here in the next.
You got it. All right, let's step aside for our first break. When we come back on the other side, if they are still there and have decided not to abandon the show after that first segment, Deborah Laughlin and Dr. Val Foytik will join me talking about the Foundation Fighting Blindness and the walk April 5th. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Shrimp Feast.
Shrimp Feast who?
It's the 46th annual Shrimp Feast hosted by the Kiwanis Club of Chesapeake.
Bring your family and appetite on Thursday, May 15th from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. to the Chesapeake City Park.
Tickets are only $45, $55 at the gate.
Yeah, but discounts are available for children between 4 and 12, and kids under 3 are free.
Event sponsorships are also available.
To purchase tickets, call Aaron at 702-286-0063, or to become an event sponsor, contact Fred Woodall at 757-469-4945.
Kiwanis builds communities one child at a time.
With an award-winning and dedicated faculty and 4 beautiful campuses, Tidewater Community College proudly serves nearly 25,000 students a year, 48% of whom pursue degrees that let them transfer to 4-year institutions. At Tidewater Community College, 65% of our students attend part-time, so they can earn while they learn, and 1/3 of our students are military-related. Enroll today at Tidewater Community College. From here, go anywhere.
Founded in 2021 by husband and wife duo Jason and Melissa Taylor, Rustic Reclaimed Design is a small business proudly owned by a woman and disabled Navy veteran. Rustic Reclaimed Design specializes in custom handmade and laser engraved products. By combining craftsmanship and creativity, Rustic Reclaimed Design delivers unique, high-quality items. Whether it is a personalized gift, something for the home, or a custom design, their mission is to create a piece that brings your vision to life. Visit us on Facebook by searching Rustic Reclaimed Design. Send an email to sales@rusticreclaimdesign.com or simply call 757-567-2790. Rustic Reclaimed Design is where we craft connections one unique piece at a time. It seems like the cost of keeping the lights on goes up way too often. Do you wish there was something you can do to control the energy costs in your own home to keep the lights on? I want you to Think Energy. Think Energy has partnerships across the country that takes advantage of solar farms. Solar farms actually reduce the dependency on your local electric company by having part of your electricity actually come from these solar farms, which in turn reduces your costs. To learn more, contact Preston Pearson by dialing 229-291-8329 or send an email to cp3foralltime@gmail.com.
There is no better time to think energy.
All right, welcome back to Aaron's Hour. That's right. Now the show title changes from Aaron's Hour to The Beauties and One Beast. That's right, Aaron's Hour here today. Welcome to the show, Deborah Laughlin and Dr. Val Foytik. Ladies, how are you today?
Doing well,
great, thank
Aaron.
you.
Excellent, excellent. You guys stuck around after those terrible stories and things that we talked about in the first segment.
Well, I'm kind of thinking I like the format of your show. You don't even know what I have on, like, below my collarbones. That's kind of interesting.
Well, don't we always wonder how newscasters are dressed? Because you only see them from the waist down. I mean, Anyway,
Correct.
that's a topic for a whole nother style.
Okay, sorry.
And that's what. No, listen. I don't mind getting into it, but I don't know if that's the proper topic for what we're trying to do for the
Well,
walk.
I can't really see, so that's just perfect for me. So there you
Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, my brain is working overtime. Okay.
go.
So
Okay.
Deborah, which is the lady at the bottom there, in 1996, she was diagnosed with cone rod dystrophy, which is an inherited degenerative retinal disease that has been in her family for 5 generations. Luck as it was, she then met Dr. Val Foytik, she is an optometrist in Suffolk, not Suffolk, New York, for all you New Yorkers, but Suffolk, from where I live, is about a half-hour drive, I think, from where I am in Virginia Beach, up 64. And she specializes in low vision for about the past 15 years. So, ladies, again, welcome to the show. And there's going to be questions that'll come in the chat room that I could try to answer as we go or after the show. But the question that I always like to ask, I'm going to start with Dr. Val first, because we know why Deborah got involved, and I'll kind of circle back around here. But, and I have to be careful, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, no confusion over Kiwanis Connects when I reference to Dr. Val, by the way. Why low vision for 15 years? Why such a specialty in the field of optometry?
Well, it's a very needed field. And, as the population ages, particularly, there are a lot of older Americans affected by conditions like macular degeneration, which is one of the more common retinal degenerative diseases. It's unlike what Deborah has, but there are many people that, despite wearing glasses or contacts or having surgeries, they still can't see very well to perform just regular day-to-day activities like reading or watching TV, driving, seeing faces. With low vision, we work with different tools that typically are going to magnify or provide more contrast, make things bolder, make things bigger, so that they can do those activities more easily.
Now, I want to add something to my introduction about you, is that literally Deborah stopped by her office and asked if you'd be interested in being in the medical chair for the local event, and poof, here you are. I'm sure it sounded like it probably didn't take much to convince you to get involved in the local events.
I couldn't turn down Deborah because she's super cool, and we've been friends since then. But it was a good opportunity to get involved with the community and in my own field of eye care and low vision. And the foundation is a great resource for patients. They provide information on research and genetic testing, just to name a few things.
Let's go back now. I want to just share this about Deborah. Your condition progressed so badly in 2007 that you had to end your anesthesiologist, your nurse, you gave the gas to people due to your visual impairment. And of course, as one would expect, when you lose your sight, obviously normal becomes very different, and how you had to change and figure out how, I think, as you said, your independence was being lost more or less. But then in 2008, you found the foundation. And in 2012, you helped to organize the very first walk that we'll talk about. So how did this all come about? What was it about the foundation back in 2008 that what called you to be involved, given your situation and those around you?
Well, so when I was first diagnosed in 1996, it's a devastating diagnosis to get, because the diagnosis is, gosh, I'm sorry, you have this degenerative retinal disease and there's nothing we can do about it. So, good luck. See what you can see and do what you can do where you can do it. Well, at that time, my vision was pretty good and I was doing great. But as it started to, on the back side of the downhill slope, and I became obvious that I was going to have to retire, it was difficult to think that this is 2007. There's nothing other than, gosh, I'm sorry. So that's when I did a little research and found out about the foundation, who researches, their mission is to find treatments that end, the end blindness, that give treatments and cures to people that have these type of diseases. Because currently, at that time, there's just nothing out there.
When Doc, let me ask you a question. When diseases are inherited, basically, through the generations, like in Deborah's case, how much more difficult, or maybe it's easier because you can trace it through all these generations, to follow a disease and possibly find a cure for something like that, for any disease, but in this particular case, in Deborah's situation?
Well, one of the first things that has to be done is identifying the particular genetic mutation that is causing the disease. And when Deborah and I had the first vision walk, it's been 14 years now. 14 years. There weren't too many known genetic mutations that had been identified yet that cause these more rare eye diseases like Deborah has. And so there was maybe about 30, like if you were to have like a panel done, to see what type of, if you had one of these diagnoses and they were trying to identify the gene, there's maybe like 30 genes that they were looking for. But now there are over 300. So that has really, been a blessing to try to expand that, and then more people can be identified, because a lot of the treatments that are being studied in clinical trials are gene therapies, and they're going to be targeting a specific gene and often a specific mutation in that gene. Okay.
So it is obviously ongoing now. How many different eye diseases are there?
I don't even know.
So I want to try to quantify that. We're talking about one specific to Deborah. So
yeah.
Hundreds? Are there hundreds of different eye diseases that are out there that affect everybody, other than, I don't know how to phrase it, but
yeah, no, probably thousands, but depending upon the type of, part of the eye that's affected.
Okay.
In this case, we're talking about the retina, which is it's like a thin tissue that's like cellophane that is like lines the back surface of the eye.
Okay.
And it acts sort of like film in a camera. So light comes through the eye, and the shape of the eye is built to focus that light on the retina. And then the retina takes that light in and processes it into a signal that the brain can then interpret as vision.
Okay.
So the retina can be damaged in a number of different ways, but some of the more common retinal diseases would include like macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, retinitis pigmentosa, or other more rare conditions of the eye, or like cone rod dystrophy, like Deborah has, or Stargardt disease. These conditions are much more rare and are typically caused by a genetic mutation.
Gotcha. As soon as John wakes up in the studio, John, if you could put the website up I put in the chat as a crawl, please, so that those who are watching can check out the walk, whether you're in the area or not to walk. Of course, you can always hit that donate button and make a donation, no matter where you are, for any of the walks. But obviously, we're focusing here on the one in Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, coming up here on April 5th at 10 a.m. So, Deborah, thank you, John. Something that Doc Val mentioned was how the foundation has become a resource. And of course, when you got your diagnosis and literally your life stopped on a dime for all intents and purposes, what was the resources that you immediately took advantage of for yourself to say, okay, this could be devastating to me as a person, which it is. I mean, I'm not minimizing losing your sight, but some people could go down that rabbit hole of despair.
Sure.
Or take that energy with the resources, say, you know what, it's bad, but maybe I can do something good with this. So talk about that. What was available to you?
So when I first had to when I first lost my job, then of course that was really difficult. And I did do some research and I went up to a visions conference, and I actually was able to interface with people just like myself, people who look at their phone like this. Oh, what time is it?
Right.
And I didn't feel so alone.
Okay.
For example, right now, as I'm looking at the screen, I know that you're in the upper left-hand corner, right?
That's me.
My left. I have my left. I'm sorry, but I can't see you. So, I mean,
Okay.
I really kind of have to look over here. So I try not to do that because it's disconcerting to people. Like, what's on my head if I'm not looking at your face? But it did give me, just the resources to talk to people. Like, how do you read your mail? How do you put your toothpaste on your toothbrush? How do you get around? There's resources of how to use the white cane.
Okay.
Magnification, pendant magnifiers, all these little things that I always have. I have them right with me all the time. Just resources such as that. And I realize when you're vision impaired and you just become more and more isolated, it's easy to just be by yourself. And so at least with the foundation, I was able to meet and talk with other people like myself.
Now, I presume your immediate family has been there, to support you and be there for you.
Correct.
Suffice it to say that the foundation has become an extension of that family for you.
Right. Yes.
Right. It kind of reminds me. Did you guys used to watch? Well, I don't know, Dr. Val. I don't know if you're old enough for this, so I'm going to be careful how I date myself.
No, she's a baby. No.
Right. Yeah. John in 30 seconds. I used to watch MASH. Remember the old TV show MASH?
Yeah. Yes.
Alan Alda had the furnace blow up while they were in the tent that he went temporarily blind. And the story talked about exactly how his life changed being blind and how he had to change everything, and his senses, especially his hearing and his smell, all changed for the better. And then when he got his sight back, he almost wished that he had lost it because of how different in his mind the world kind of looked, because you don't see the bad, but you could feel the good. You could smell the good, the fresh cut lawn and the rain and all of that. So it's going through that adjustment like he did. And I know it's a small comparison, and I know I'm reaching for a twig here, but making those adjustments, heck, when I gain weight, my pants don't fit. I know what that adjustment feels like. So I can't even imagine. And God bless you for having the support team around you from the day that all this came, and the fact that you're able to take that and use, great powers comes great responsibility. So using it for good. All right, we're going to step aside for our second break. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the walk. That's right, the 20-year walk, as you see on the wall behind me here. Don't go anywhere. I got Dr. Val. I'm going to call her Dr. Deborah. I feel like giving out doctorates all day long.
Okay.
I'm just a court jester. Aaron Phillips is here. Aaron Zauer. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wanted to dress like a Hall of Fame broadcaster, but didn't know where to begin? In 2018, Aaron Phillips was inducted in the Las Vegas Entertainers Hall of Fame, and The Voice was born. Aaron has been part of many successful podcast programs, and branding those programs plays a vital role. Visit thevoice.qbstores.com and order the latest embroidered products featuring the logos of many of Aaron's shows. Discounts and flat shipping rates are available on all orders, regardless of quantity, on men's, women's, and kids' apparel, and many accessories. Visit thevoice.qbstores.com and let Aaron's voice speak to you.
To reveal means to make something, secret or hidden, publicly or generally known. The phrase, covering the wound doesn't stop the hurt, can be applied to any situation and is based on individual experiences. This phrase is not a solution, but our goal is that it inspires you to acknowledge the wounds you've been covering far too long. These words are meant to help you to unlock your inner strength to begin the process of self-healing. Whether you like hoodies, t-shirts, hats, or jogger sets, go to reveal-llc.com now and order what you need to remind you that it's okay to rip off the Band-Aid to begin to heal. All right. Oh, there you go. Right on cue. That's right. Now let's shift gears to having some fun, doing some walking. April 5th, 10 a.m., Mount Trashmore Park. We're located right on Independence and... Why am I blanking? Not Baxter. Yeah, Edwin. There we go. Geez, I only live right down the street from it, for crying out loud. Jeez Louise. Registration, I believe, starts at what time?
10.
Oh, so that is that's what I thought. That is registration. And then the walk is 11:30.
11:30, and registration is free. You can just come on up and register and come on in. And
Perfect.
Trader Joe provides nice snacks and food. And,
Well, I'll make sure I'm there early for that then. You know, I love free food. Free food is
Starbucks
good.
always gives us coffee. Krispy Kreme gives us donuts. Yum.
Well, I won't tell my CrossFit trainer about the Krispy Kremes.
Okay, well, yeah.
But folks, I already received the script from Lauren today. There is my script, folks, ladies and gentlemen. So, and I'm meeting with them next week to do a little walkthrough with the team. I really am excited. Love doing these things, giving of my time as a Kiwanian, which is where I do a lot of my community service. But I love being able to branch out and offer my services as a Hall of Fame host, radio guy, and just a guy who likes to make a fool of himself in front of people, have a good time. And I'm really looking forward to it because of the cause is absolutely terrific. All right, so let's talk about this. Now, how long now, the walk, how many years has this walk been going on here in Hampton Roads area?
14.
Okay, 14. And
Yep.
so the first one, if I see you're correct, was down on 17th Street in the boardwalk, right? That was
Yes,
the first one?
Yes. Mhm.
And you had 600 registered walkers. That was pretty good. How much money did you raise in that first one?
70,000.
I think so. I
something
think
around
that's
there,
right.
70,000.
Okay. I just popped onto the website, which is give.fightingblindness.org/event/Hampton-Roads-Visit-Walk. It's a big URL. Anyway, so far the goal is 65,000, and you're more than halfway at almost $37,000 raised thus far.
Okay.
Do you guys know anything about how many teams you have so far, that sort of stuff? You guys have any of that?
18 registered teams, and I think we currently have almost 300 registered walkers.
Oh, that's good.
289 or something.
Oh, we round up. We put it
Yeah,
out there. We'll get 11 more. We'll get
Okay,
11 more.
Right, perfect.
We'll get 11 more.
From
At least 11 more.
broadcast alone, right?
That's right. Exactly. That's right. I
Okay.
expect my audience. And if you can't be here, my fellow Kiwanians out there on the West Coast,
That's
go
right.
to the website, hit donate, send some money in for the cause.
Oh, yes.
All right. So
under your name, under your team, Aaron, even better.
right. That's right. We'll put my team. Just send money because I'll be doing my own walking around the event and seeing this.
Right.
What was I going to? Oh, so other things going on during the walk. Are there vendors, music? I know music. Talk about what else is going to be going on at the walk.
We have a DJ. It's Astro DJs. They come. The same guy comes every year, and he's amazing. And we do. You know, the crowd that comes to this walk, they love line dancing. So they'll be doing the wobble and the electric slide. I mean, they're always out there doing dancing. We have 1 year. I don't know if we have it this year. We have face painters and balloon artist and a little children's corner.
Kids area. Mhm.
Virginia Eye Consultants will be there with big tables. So there are some of our sponsors come with tables and give away
And
pens
some
and magnets and
local resources as
tchotchkes
well.
and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Now, I am not putting this out into the universe, but I have to ask, should the weather not be totally compliant that day? Is it going to go on regardless, depending upon how severe weather situations may be, or what's the plans if there's a backup?
There's no backup. Show up, bring a raincoat.
Yeah, rain or shine.
That's right. Rain or
Okay.
shine.
All right. That's good to know. So this way I have to wear my galoshes.
Rain or shine. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Well, you'll be on the stage, so you're covered. So you're
Yeah, I'll be on the stage.
Filter.
I'll be
so
on the
you're-
stage if it should rain, holding electrical mic. Yeah, that's smart on my part, huh?
Well,
I'll make sure.
don't
I'll
step in
make
any
sure-
water.
Right, that's true. I'll make sure I wear rubber shoes. This way I'm
There you
grounded. So
Okay.
no, but that's good because people always want to know that. But it's free to get into the event. If teams want to come last second to sign up, they can do that too, right?
Yep. Sure can.
Absolutely.
All right.
Mhm.
So everybody just come with your walking shoes, and I think it's a great cause. So let's go back into the medical side of this. So what are some of the latest news breaking things that we could share with the audience about what is happening in research for blindness? What are some of the good things that is happening now to help those with some of these diseases?
So when Deborah and I started with the first walk 14 years ago, there weren't any clinical trials. So clinical trials means there's in human trials. There was just, lab work, maybe some animal studies on these types of conditions. But we've seen that number grow for clinical trials each year. And now there are about 50 clinical trials for the more rare retinal degenerative diseases. We did see the first ever treatment for a rare condition called Leber's congenital amenorrhosis.
Okay.
So this is the most common cause of an inherited blindness in children. And there was approval of a gene therapy called Luxturna for this condition when it's caused by a specific genetic mutation in a gene called RPE65. So we saw the very first treatment for one of these types of conditions. That was in 2018. And it really opened the door to the use of conventional gene therapy for other conditions that might be caused by other genes. So that particular type of treatment, conventional gene therapy, it's done by taking a harmless virus, and they use an adenovirus as a transport mechanism for the correct gene so that they can transport it into the eye. They usually inject the medication under the retina. And then the new gene, which is the proper gene, can be incorporated into the eye, and then the cells can produce, what the proteins that they need to produce to function properly. So that's how the conventional gene therapy works. Now, some genes, are too large to be carried by this adenovirus. So there is a company called Splice Bio that recently was approved for an early phase clinical trial for what's called protein splicing. So just to give like a little background, so when you have your genetic code and your DNA, that has to be ultimately transformed into a protein that the cell can use to function. So when you have a genetic mutation, it's a problem in the code or the instructions to make these proteins. And so the cell ultimately dies because it doesn't have the proper function, the proper protein. So the protein splicing therapy, because the gene is too large, and the particular gene that is being studied with this company's trial is for a disease called Stargardt disease.
Okay.
And it's caused by a defect in the gene ABCA4. And this is a large gene. So what they do is they split it in half and they package it up, each half, in the virus support mechanism. And then they have a little tail that they add on to each half. So they inject that into the eye. And then when those proteins are made from each half, the little tail that each one has attracts the two halves. So it comes together and forms the full protein inside of the eye. So it's just incredible the different ways that they can approach. Is still within like a gene therapy type of category, but there are all these unique ways that they're approaching these specific problems, because not everything can be done in the conventional manner.
Sure. So I want to ask the money that's going to be raised here on April 5th.
Yes.
Everybody always asks when it comes to fundraising, where does the money go, right? So anybody who goes to the website for the foundation or the Vision Walks, you'll see that there's Vision Walks all across the country spread over the calendar. So does all this money that's raised go into a general pool for research at some main laboratory? Does some of it stay local to support the local resources for the local people? Talk about how the money is divided up within each walk, if you don't mind.
So the foundation did an impact and insight study, and that they reported that 78% of their total expenditures in this year have been spent on research and also public health education. Okay. So raising awareness about blindness. And so the foundation supports institutions all over the globe, different research institutions. They have 104 grants that they funded globally in 2024. And they The clinical trial pipeline right now is kind of divided into 3 different categories of what's being studied. It's either gene therapy, stem cells, or like pharmaceutical drugs, small molecules.
Okay. Wow. So how does the local, I guess, so then I want to just bring it down a little smaller because we're talking big scale, but this is a walk that's being done here in Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach. So obviously, like some of the resources Deborah talked about that she uses, is there a local office where people can go to get resources? I mean, I guess what I'm wondering is, does any of that money stay local to help individuals like Deborah get what they need through some of the financing that comes in through the walks? I guess is
so we
really...
have a local chapter, and so
right,
what
okay.
we provide as a local chapter would just be like support. Like, okay, I just was I'm newly diagnosed. Oh my gosh, what do I do?
Right.
And so from there, I could guide you to
other individuals within the chapter,
right,
who have
where you to get a cane,
yes.
Assistive devices, the Department of Blind and Vision Impaired, things
okay.
like that. So it's mostly just like a support network.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, and globally for the foundation, like you just can't go and go, oh my gosh, I got this great idea and here's $40 million. You have to go before like a grant committee and you present your findings and why your research is deserving of, you know, their $40 million. And I had frequently speak around town at different civic organizations, but one of the things that I found really compelling when I first got involved, and it's probably changed now, but the amount of money to take one potential therapy from just like the idea, oh, I have this idea, and then to bring it to the human clinical trial arena is like $40 million just to bring it from here to there. Wow. That doesn't mean it works. That's just what it costs. You can get out there and go, oh, doesn't work. You know, it may work for something else. For example, you know, Viagra was initially researched and developed for hypertension, but then it has that pesky little side effect, right? That they were able to use for something else. So
I love pesky things, but anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. So even though you research it, develop it, and it comes to the human clinical trial arena, it doesn't work, but it may work for other things. So
no, absolutely. And it's like, what is it, Wegovy, that normally helps depression, but they've now found that it helps with weight loss.
With weight loss,
yeah.
correct. That's the
absolutely.
GLP inhibitors. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. All right, we're going to step aside for our last break, John. Okay. Let's rack them up. When we come back on the other side, we'll only have a few minutes left with the ladies. We're going to talk about, again, the walk, what you can do to help, and then we'll get you on your way for the rest of the weekend, everybody. Thank you for watching Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips, and I am Aaron Phillips, because otherwise the title of the show really not work very well. We'll be right back.
Your path to a meaningful career begins at Tidewater Community College. We're here to help you every step of the way, from application to financial aid, to helping you transfer to the four-year college of your choice, and even placement in in-demand careers. Whether you're looking to transition from the military, want to go part-time while you work, or make a full-time career change, TCC is here for you with multiple campuses throughout the region. Enroll today at Tidewater Community College. From here, go anywhere.
To reveal means to make something, secret or hidden, publicly or generally known. The phrase, covering the wound doesn't stop the hurt, can be applied to any situation and is based on individual experiences. This phrase is not a solution, but our goal is that it inspires you to acknowledge the wounds you've been covering far too long. These words are meant to help you to unlock your inner strength to begin the process of self-healing. Whether you like hoodies, t-shirts, hats, or jogger sets, go to reveal-llc.com now and order what you need to remind you that it's okay to rip off the Band-Aid to begin to heal.
Have you ever wanted to dress like a Hall of Fame broadcaster, but didn't know where to begin? In 2018, Aaron Phillips was inducted in the Las Vegas Entertainers Hall of Fame, and The Voice was born. Aaron has been part of many successful podcast programs, and branding those programs plays a vital role. Visit thevoice.qbstores.com and order the latest embroidered products featuring the logos of many of Aaron's shows. Discounts and flat shipping rates are available on all orders, regardless of quantity, on men's, women's, and kids' apparel, and many accessories. Visit thevoice.qbstores.com and let Aaron's voice speak to you.
All right, welcome back. Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips, coast to coast. That's right. We're here talking about the Foundation Fighting Blindness. That's right. We're not talking about you bad umpires and referees out there. You got a whole nother problem, blindness. That's right. I used to referee, so I know where I'm coming from. All right. We have an event coming up April 5th. That is the Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach Vision Walk to raise money. We are only 50% of the way there. The goal, you can go to, the website is down on the bottom of the screen, www.fightingblindness.org/vision walk. You can just scroll down the list of locations, click on Hampton Roads. There it is, April 5th, 10 a.m. starts registration, Mount Trashmore Park, corner of Independence and Edwin. It is, I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful park too. So all those places around the world that have garbage piles, you ought to see what they've done out here and make it a beautiful. I've run those steps. I do CrossFit, and for September 11th, we went over to that park. And our goal, or what we had to do within our time of class, which was about 50 minutes, was try to go up and down those damn steps 110 times, which was the height of the Twin Towers. Okay.
Whoa.
I am proud to say.
Times? Wow.
What's that?
110 times.
Up and down was one.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Because that was equal to one floor of the Twin Towers. So I didn't get through all of them. I got to almost 90 flights basically out of the 100. I couldn't walk the next 2 weeks, but boy, I got those steps.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Mount Trashmore is a beautiful park, even just to go out and walk and enjoy. They just had a kickoff festival there this past weekend with vendors. But I'm really looking forward to this event on April 5th. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. So let's do this, ladies. I want the two of you, as we wrap up, give me, so two each. So I'm going to ask for 4 things, 4 myths that you want to bust right now about blindness, about vision, about people, what they talk about that is just not completely true. So Dr. Val, I'm going to ask you for 2, and Deborah, I'm going to ask you for 2. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Deborah, give me one.
All right. Here's one thing that drives, one of the biggest reasons I got involved is when I was just, for whatever reason, it's a long story, but I was in a situation where I really needed help. And I was in a hospital and I couldn't read the signs and I was lost. And I said, please help me. I can't see. And I love this. Wow. Really? Do you need my glasses? You don't look like you can see. So that is right. I always want to say, wow, really? I'll be nice. I'm sorry. So
no, we're on the internet. You don't have to be nice. The FCC,
oh yeah, well, you don't look smart. How about that? But so just because I look like I can see, I had vision, my vision tracked away, so my eyes know how to track. So don't always assume people see the way you see.
All right, I love that one.
Right, there you go. Because you'll see me run into a wall. If I see you tomorrow, Aaron, at Food Line, you'll go, Deborah, great interview. I'll be like, who are you?
Right. My wife's been doing that for 36 years. It's okay, Deborah.
Right. That's a myth, one of the myths about blindness I'd like to bust.
All right. That's a good one. All right, Dr. Val, give me your first one.
I would say one myth being if you don't need glasses to see, that you don't need to have an eye exam.
Oh,
that would be a myth.
That's a good one.
Because even if you can see well without glasses, you still should have your eye health checked. And one of the main reasons is probably the G word, glaucoma. So that's a really big one that we're always looking for. And it has no symptoms early on. And it doesn't have symptoms until you've lost so much, of your vision that you happen to start to notice it. So, but we can pick up on that early, especially with more advanced testing that we have now. Looking at that optic nerve in the back of the eye, make sure it looks normal. And if it doesn't, we, know who we need to follow a little more closely and make sure they don't develop glaucoma. That's a blinding eye disease as well.
My diabetes was a trait in my family going all the way back to my great grandmother. And in 2013, I was finally, after having the glucose tolerance test, I had a cellulitis attack. And of course, then was diagnosed with type 2. Okay. And when I first got glasses in middle school, it was a typical, only when you sit up front of the class, you need them. Don't put them on all the time. Well, you get lazy, take them off, put them on, take them off. So you end up wearing them all the time. At least that was the wives' tale that we had. So now religiously, I get my eyes checked every year for coma, the whole thing. And I don't care if it's the slightest change in my script. I will get new frames to make that adjustment. I don't ever want my eyes to have to work harder than they do, even for the slightest change in the script. All right, Deborah, give me your second myth that we want to bust.
Okay, here's a myth I want to bust. So, when I say that I'm visually impaired and I'm legally blind, that means, so I think the definition of legally blind is your best corrected vision is 2200 or worse. Is that correct, Valerie?
That's legal blindness. Yes.
Legal blindness.
2200 or worse in the better eye.
Right.
Yep.
And so, and vision impaired is your best corrected vision is 2070. So when people say, "Oh, I'm legally blind, but when I put my glasses on, I'm good to go," I'm like, "Well, you're not," because if you're corrected, you're not legally blind. So that's my myth. So you're not. If you are corrected to 2020 or 2040 or whatever, you're not legally blind.
Gotcha. All right, Val, take us home with your last one.
Can I confirm a myth?
Whatever. Absolutely.
So there's a saying: the eyes are the window to the soul. Well, maybe not your soul, but it's certainly to like your overall health in your body. You mentioned having diabetes, so that's another one of the main things that we look for when we look in the retina. We can see small blood vessels, and there's so many conditions that are prevalent in America, like diabetes or high blood pressure, where we can often discover those conditions and diagnose them just by looking at the small blood vessels in the back of the eye.
Right on.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. So you got 3 busted and 1 confirmed here, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first on ours. And listen, folks, in all seriousness, don't take your eyesight for granted. That's really the bottom line. If something's not right at the smallest chance, just go. If it's worth a $20 copay or whatever you have to pay, just go get it checked so you know. All right. Once again, April 5th, 10 a.m. registration. It is the Vision Walk here in Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, over at Mount Trashmore, Independence, and Edwin. 10 a.m. registration, 11:30. Everything starts. There'll be music. There'll be vendors. You'll see Deborah and Doc Val. You are coming down from Suffolk, yes, Dr. Val?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you'll see them. You'll see more.
There. Yeah.
You better be there.
With our yellow vests.
There you go.
Right.
I will be there on stage leading the thing, which really I'm not. It's the Deborahs of the world that we have to be there to support so that we can make sure that no one else has to suffer or have their lives totally turned upside down. And that's the work that Dr. Val is involved in and everything else. Ladies, thank you for taking time to share the news and talk about the Vision Walk. Greatly appreciated. I look forward to seeing you in person next week at the walk, if not before. And again, thank you for taking time with me today.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, everybody, quick programming note. Next week's show, I will be talking to the celebrity athletes that are participating in the Carlos Leach, the Leach Firm's 6th annual golf classic in Orlando on April 11th, which I'm going to Orlando for. So they will all be my guests next week. We're going to have some sports celebrities on, the whole thing. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, with that, everybody, please remember this. Be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we got. We'll see you next time right here on Aaron's Hour. Take it away, John.
Founded in 2021 by husband and wife duo Jason and Melissa Taylor, Rustic Reclaimed Design is a small business proudly owned by a woman and disabled Navy veteran. Rustic Reclaimed Design specializes in custom handmade and laser engraved products. By combining craftsmanship and creativity, Rustic Reclaimed Design delivers unique, high-quality items. Whether it is a personalized gift, something for the home, or a custom design, their mission is to create a piece that brings your vision to life. Visit us on Facebook by searching Rustic Reclaimed Design. Send an email to sales@rusticreclaimdesign.com or simply call 757-567-2790. Rustic Reclaimed Design is where we craft connections one unique piece at a time. It seems like the cost of keeping the lights on goes up way too often. Do you wish there was something you can do to control the energy costs in your own home to keep the lights on? I want you to Think Energy. Think Energy has partnerships across the country that takes advantage of solar farms. solar farms actually reduce the dependency on your local electric company by having part of your electricity actually come from these solar farms, which in turn reduces your costs. To learn more, contact Preston Pearson by dialing 229-291-8329 or send an email to cp3foralltime@gmail.com. There is no better time to think energy.